So don't diss your teacher, right? And because the grammar is important. What you can do, I think, outside of class is, right? Maybe you can agree to 1 hour a week to sit in a room or in a pupusa area, practicing your English, okay? Practicing that vocabulary. I think also reading. Everything you can in English is very, very important. All right. Listening, right? Music, listening to YouTube, TED Talks. TED Talks are very, very good. But finding ways, making space for you to practice your conversation, to talk, all right, in English. After class is over, you go to lunch. Again, once a week, say we're going to speak English during lunch hour, right? And maybe you have the vocabulary, you have the grammar, and you've been studying, and so you want to practice using that with your classmates, with your friends, right? The classroom can only do so much. Okay? The classroom can present you grammar, vocabulary, reading skills, but you as a student, you need to take that, what you've learned in class, and you need to find opportunities to use it outside of class. And it, as I was talking about, the access to social language, to authentic language, in a country like El Salvador or China, where English isn't everywhere, you have to do the work to find that and make that space. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I have another question.
Okay, right.
And it's different. My question is, what are the most important skills to teach freshmen? I mean, the basis that we have to form as a teacher in those kind of students, because they are learning and they are doing their first steps. So what can I do as a teacher?
I think the most important skill, all right, that you can, for the new students, for the students who are learning it for the first time, is to help them feel comfortable making mistakes. All right, that's most important, right? Because if students are afraid, as we go through school, teachers are always saying, no, do it again, no, you're bad, whether it's math or science or whatever, but we're trained to always be correct, all right? Because we want to get that high grade, all right? Well, with language, we have to make mistakes, right? We have to, we have to produce things and do it wrong before we do it right. And so I think the first thing, and this is to help students feel okay with just speaking, with just writing, right, and getting comfortable producing the language, right? Then, so once you get students comfortable with being wrong, making mistakes, then you can begin to say, all right, now here's vocabulary, right? Basic vocabulary for shopping, for banking, for travel, and helping, and again, we're asking students to memorize, keep flashcards. Flashcards are very old school, okay? Actually pulling out a pen and writing, because the computer, a lot of that stuff now is very passive, and if it's passive, then our brain's not active. So asking students to actually make their own vocabulary cards that they can then study at home, study on the bus, study wherever, in the restaurants. Those are it's old school, but it's very, very effective, and the research shows that this hand to paper activity really helps the brain into remembering. So the technology is all fine and good, but that handwriting is really, really important. So I think developing and getting students into a habit of keeping a journal, and then asking them and holding them accountable for those. Okay, so maybe on Monday you've presented vocabulary for the grocery store, the different vegetables and fruits. Then all week long, kind of testing them on it. Not formal testing, but what did you eat yesterday? And asking them in sort of what we call referential questions, right? They're display questions like, what color is your jacket? Right? I know the answer, and I just am testing you. But if I ask you, what did you eat yesterday? I don't know. That's a referential question. That's a meaningful question, okay? Right? So as a teacher, what you taught yesterday, if you can, in the morning, the next day, with your warm-up, with your review, ask a referential question to students about something that's going to take them back to yesterday, that's going to help as well, right? Because it's important. And the students will also look to you as, well, she cares about me. He cares about me, right? She's asking me about, and that makes a student feel good, right? That's important, right? So I think being comfortable with making mistakes and reinforcing what you taught yesterday, today, I think those are the things that.
And I think another problem that we have is when we are working with grade size in a classroom, a lot of students and all of them are making noise.
Right.
And what can I do as a teacher to control that action or that problem in the classroom?
Without sounding rude.
Without sounds rude.
That's always a challenge, okay? I think as a teacher, we need to be comfortable with noise, right? Because if there's noise, that means students are talking, right? Hopefully they're talking in English, right? Hopefully.
Not all the time.
They may not always, okay? That's not realistic, okay? But I think if you, in a large group, if you can make the groups smaller, right? Divide them into smaller groups and have the students, give them a project to work on and have them know that at the end of the hour, at the end of the week, that they will have to present their work, so they have a task that they have to accomplish. So if they're spending their whole time just talking in Spanish, at the end of the hour and you call in the group, what did you they're uncomfortable, okay? All right? So if you give them some sort of a task and they know that they will have to do something with that, present to the class or to you as a teacher, that can help, I think, that certain levels. I was talking about anxiety being a good thing, and I think that kind of anxiety, nervousness can be useful, right? Because they will work harder, right? You're never going to get a completely quiet class, right? I mean, that's just part of teaching, right? We would like to think that because we are so special as a teacher that our students are always going to be the best, and that's not true, okay? Humans are humans, all right?
Yeah.
And keeping things active, also not staying on any one thing very long. Today, with all of our technology, we're used to changing, rapidly, okay, from one thing to the next. We're used to multitasking. And so our students are the same way. And if they're doing one thing, then they're going to get bored.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to get tired. So changing the activities every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes or something is also important. I don't know if you are able to, if it's possible, but asking students to get up out of their chairs and to go write sentences on the board.
Yeah,
or to
requirement.
Those getting students up out of their chairs is I tell my teachers that you need to do that every day. Students need to be out of their chairs every day during class, right? Because they sit for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. They're fidgety. So if we can get them up and out of their chairs, going to the board, presenting, talking, role playing, then that keeps people active too, right? And it keeps them.
And the last question that I have, I think is important too, because I was watching some students that they are use a lot Google Translator when, for example, I assign a project, and then they are translating.
Right.
And I don't know if it's right to let them do that or.
I think a little bit, okay? Right? The students come to a classroom with one tool, right? And that's Spanish. Okay, they have that tool to help them learn, right? And they've been using Spanish since kindergarten, right? And you take them into a language classroom and you tell them, no, you can't use Spanish, then they have no tool, right? So a little bit of translation is a good thing, right?
Students from third,
to build that foundation, but then we need to move them into
you are
not
going to
translating
have your
into
workshops
thinking.
in our brand new
But
building.
don't
that is in
take
front of
away the
us.
tool that they have.
And students
Right?
from first
So
to
it's a little
second
bit.
year,
Use
you
a
are
little bit,
going to
the
stay
vocabulary,
here in
right?
auditorium
And even
for
comparing
our
grammar.
next
Okay,
webinar.
this is how we do it in Spanish.
Thank you.
This is how it's done in English. Okay, and being comfortable with that, but then moving them to a point where they're not thinking in Spanish but thinking in English. That's the ultimate goal. As I was just talking to the other guys, if you can get your students to begin thinking in English, then you've really succeeded as a teacher, right?
One more thing. Can we have a photo with you?
Yeah.
Oh yes, of course.
And thank